is she going to do?
She's going to get her laptop. All right, everybody. We're live. Nicole went to get her laptop so we can make sure that we're live and answer any questions you can drop in the chat room. This is Lucinda. You want to say what's up?
What's up?
And we're going to do a little webcast for you here today. I have Nicole Fields from our team join me, and Parker's going to join us in a bit, and we will find out what it is they do and answer some questions for you. So you want to log in to justin.tv/topspinmedia, and then we'll see if A, make sure it's working, and B, join up in the chat room. Okay, let's not play with the money right here, Lulu, because it'll be kind of loud on the microphone. Okay, today's show is brought to you by Thunderbird Energetica.
Set to do that. Sorry.
So I guess it works. I don't know if you guys are at South by Southwest, but these are local Austin power bars that I found when I was out there. Yeah, you got to try this. It's actually super good. They're handmade in Austin.
It just occurred to me that we should have had a big April Fool Day thing planned for this webcast.
I know, I didn't.
We slept on that. I want to try it, sure. Thanks.
And you can have the rest of them.
Awesome. Oh, I see Jay on there. Hi, Jay.
What's up, Jay?
Where is Jay?
I think he's
Jay's
in
in the
Nashville.
chat room. He's in Nashville.
All right, so if people have questions, feel free to.
Oh, it's Chandler. Hi, Chandler.
Hey, Chandler. Feel
Jay's
free.
brother.
Exactly. Feel free to. If you have questions, please feel free to drop them into the chat. Just a couple of bits of announcements from me. Thanks so much to everybody who came out on Monday night to our meetup. It was super fun and good to meet everybody. Also, thanks to everybody who showed up to class on Wednesday. That class is great, and I can say that because it's not really my class. I'm just tagging along in Jeff Jampol's class, really. But on Wednesday night at the class at UCLA, they had Chris Doridis from KCRW as well as Jason Bentley from KCRW. It was great, super interesting. And then they had an artist called Kina Granis, Kinagranis is her name, and she was really interesting. Modern, real modern artist who lives on Twitter, YouTube, etc., and has done a really good job building a career. I have some video of her that I'm going to try to post to the UCLA Music Biz class Twitter, which is UCLA Music Biz on Twitter. If anybody you can still enroll in that class through April 11th. So if anybody is interested in the music business class at UCLA, you can just go to UCLA Extension and find a class called the Music Business Now. You don't like the bar? I'll eat it.
I thought it was great. Someone else?
So anyway, come on by if you want to do that. I also wanted to say congratulations to Mike King for Best Music Educator.
Congrats, Mike.
Yeah, according to NARIP, N-A-R-I-P. Mike teaches a lot of courses at Berklee Online, and he developed the online music marketing with Topspin class for Berklee, and he just won the Best Music Educator by a wide margin. So,
that's awesome.
Congrats to him, and also the latest session of online music marketing with Topspin starts on Monday. So if you go over to the Berklee music site or Berklee Online site, BERKLEE online.com, you can sign up for that class, which starts on Monday. I'm trying to think. Oh, other announcements. I'm going this afternoon, flying out to meet Wayne from Topspin. Big ups, Wayne, right. in Vegas for the American Country Music Awards, and I'll be there through Monday morning. So if you're going to be in Vegas or you know somebody who is, please send them to come find me. I'll be mostly probably at the MGM, which is where a lot of the goings-ons are. And I'll have these cards to give away. If anybody tracks me down, you can get one. we're having a meetup at the MGM at the pool bar tomorrow night, Saturday night. So if you want to come on by, you can just hit me on Twitter at ENCR, and we'll give you details on the when, because I actually don't know sitting here right now. But tomorrow night at the MGM pool, we'll be out there. So please come through. Oh, the other thing, as you guys know, we release a new version of Topspin every week. So we have a bunch of stuff that we're working on now. We kind of got our big South by Southwest push out of the way. Now we've been rolling out a bunch of smaller stuff. One of the big things that you might have noticed this week is an update to the players and the way that they work on your iPhone or your iPad. So I don't know if you can see this, but the player is working well on the iPhone, iPad. It worked, but there were some issues before.
They each have to play their part.
And now it's this is your favorite video, Lou.
Parker here handles everything online, from selling music and merch to updating
so if
Facebook
you're
and Twitter, even
if
TikTok.
you're a
That's a lot on Parker's
if you want to get
plate.
your streaming players everywhere, we having the HTML5 players is good and important, and our new streaming players are fully functional on iOS devices now, which is good. The other thing that we did, we built a digital inventory
Grab
feature,
the other one too.
so you can actually have limited numbers
Grab the
of
other one
downloads.
too, Daddy.
Sure. Like if you had, for example, if your publisher gave you a waiver for only 10,000 tracks, you could limit your downloads to just 10,000 tracks. Or if you wanted to say, look, I want to give this track away, but I only want to give away this many of them, or even sell a limited number of digital goods, you can do that now. I know that sounds kind of crazy, trying to create scarcity out of digital goods, but there are some legit uses that a couple of our partners had for that, and we wanted to accommodate them.
Yeah, and actually we just did one that was pretty cool with Homefront, the video game, where they gave away a soundtrack. It was sort of a bonus extended soundtrack to 25,000 people, and I think we powered through those in less than 24 hours. So there's some easy use cases for that.
Yeah, and look, having limited quantity digital goods is I mean, come on, like bits are easily reproduced, but we know that's a great example. So you got a video game company, they're giving away an album, but they had to deal with publishers to get the rights to give those albums away. They had to say that
Right.
They had to be able to say we can limit the number of downloads that we can give away, and say that to the publishers, which they did. So they capped it out at 25,000. They blew through them in a couple of hours. A great promotion for the game, and everybody's happy. So there you go. So you got this week. We got the iOS stuff. We got the digital inventory features. We have some big things coming next week as well. And wait till you see what we have coming over the next couple months. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. But there's some very cool and very, very big new features coming. So that's that. So we only have Nicole for 20 more minutes. So I just want to figure out what the hell it is you do, Nicole.
What I do here.
Yeah, but are there
what I do here.
are there questions that we should answer first? Anything?
Well, they're updating their site with the WordPress plugin. They're looking for how to pull the images in. This is I'm an adult now. Hi. We'll have to look into that.
I see you on Twitter. What's the question? Okay, Topspin WordPress plugin is not pulling all the images in.
Right.
All right, at 11:30 we're gonna have Parker here, and we'll see if maybe Parker can answer the question in real time. Hey Glenn, thanks. I'm glad you like Lulu's Burrito Brothers T-shirt. It's pretty funny because she actually pulled it. She's doing this thing where she's cycling through the rainbow. She's already cycled through the rainbow. She wants to wear all. That's why I'm wearing red too, because today was red.
Was wondering about that.
Yeah. But so she gets into the closet today and pulls out the Burrito Brothers shirt. But it's a hilarious thing to watch and have a 4-year-old go, does this say Burrito Brothers? And she actually knows. I don't know why or when she's been told, but
knows who that is.
She knows what it is.
My favorite conversation with Lulu, this is when I first met her last year. She came in and we had a very adult discussion about her time at Coachella. and that Girls and Dirty Projectors were her favorite bands. But it's funny because girls aren't just girls, and we talked about the logic of that for a minute.
Yeah.
I thought this is a conversation I could have with any other friend that's really into music.
She pretty much only refers to girls as they're called girls, but they're really boys.
Right.
The band Girls. She loves the band Girls. All right. So Nicole, how long have you worked at Topspin now?
I've worked at Topspin full time for a little over a year and 1 month, but I've been kind of in the orbit of Topspin for 2 years because I worked freelance doing Topspin projects for the year before that.
And who did you do the freelance projects for?
Carly Simon was one of the big projects.
Mm-hmm.
I had been
and
working
who employed you on that? Was it Carly Simon or was it?
Yes,
okay.
It was Carly Simon's camp.
Right.
And I worked really closely with the Topspin team here to help run that campaign.
Right.
And I also was part of the satellite sales team for Topspin at that time.
Right.
Along with Andrew Maines.
Right.
And that's how Andrew and I got to know each other. And then that's how Andrew hired me when he got here.
Right. Andrew, whose desk we're sitting in right now while Andrew is in Brazil.
Poor guy.
So if you want to know, some of the kinds of things that Andrew keeps on his desk. Tequila in a skull.
Right. That is so Maines. I love it.
Wait, here's my favorite thing on Andrew's desk though.
What's this?
Wait, apart from this, of course. Like, come on.
Simon.
How cute is that?
Simon's absurd.
But wait, this is the best though. Jay Scavo from used to be MySpace, now Hollywood, with Jen and Ryan and Andrew at some cheesy restaurant.
Yeah, where'd they get that frame that says California on it?
I'm glad that doesn't leave his desk.
Must be by the beach. Yeah, that's fantastic.
So what do you do here?
What do I do here? I just kind of come in and hang out. So I work on the pro services side. I'm a producer. I help artists run campaigns using Topspin, but also helping them come up with their entire digital strategy. I work on the George Harrison account. Actually, they're going to be coming in here around 11:30 to brainstorm the next 6 months of what their activity's been. We're working on a really exciting campaign right now with My Morning Jacket. They've been launching a free track every week leading up to their new release. So I would say it's a lot of strategic work and a lot of execution. But the strategic stuff is really fun for us to kind of help artists come up with their digital strategy using Topspin and myriad other social tactics and tools.
And how do you approach it? Like you have a new project, My Morning Jacket, George Harrison. Like where do you start?
In an ideal world, and sometimes the projects run on a very fast track, and certainly we're used to doing the 24/7 turnaround here. But in an ideal world, you'll get to plot out a campaign from what we call the fan acquisition stage, which is the email for media tool is perfect for that, which is where you have Interpol would actually be a great example of a strategic campaign that way. Interpol hadn't recorded or put out a new album in 7 years. They put out one of their strongest songs from the new record using the email for media. It was in their voice. They said, "We're stirring." They posted it on Facebook. That was the kickoff of their fan acquisition campaign. It was a good 3 to 4 months before they launched a pre-order. And that was...
So not just 3 to 4 months before the album came out, 3 to 4 months before the pre-order.
Exactly, yeah.
What was it? I'm trying to remember. That was so 6 months ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, because the album came out in
August, September 2nd.
Right, September, and then we started like back in May.
In May.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. That's a pretty good lesson because we were on the phone with a label yesterday who was trying to talk to us about a record that comes out next week.
That's common. Yeah, and then you're under the gun. We've seen campaigns over and over again have stronger success when you have a little time to let fans do their work. It's hard for people to share in a rush. Naturally, just organically, you want people to be able to tell their friends and learn about something. And it's also great if you have something strong that you can put out there. The value of that media, whether it's something new, something original, something that you as a fan would want to be able to get and share with your friends makes a big difference.
Right.
So the first step would be talking to the manager and label or all the team players and hopefully coming up with that strategy and sharing what we know here at Topspin to work.
Right.
Rather than being reactive and posting something up quickly. So the strategy part's really fun.
Right. And what about planning out the release itself when you get into the products and you're looking at bundles or fan clubs or
Right.
Or let's leave it at that for now.
Okay.
We'll leave tickets out of it for a second. How do you on the Topspin team help the artists that you work with formulate that stuff?
Right. So we go through a pretty specific exercise in terms of helping an artist come up with their mix of offers. And a lot of the time we take the learnings from that fan acquisition stage. It's important to have that because you can see where your interest is coming from and what's working. It gives you some, some data and some ways to figure out the analytics around what you might offer. So we would sit down and come up with a range of offers that appeal to the casual fan, the super fan, if an artist is thinking about a standard premium digital product, that might be the entry-level product in a lot of campaigns, and then a high-end, limited edition, hopefully exclusive product for the super fans who really want something special. We use a price margin analysis. It's a really important exercise. I encourage everybody to do this in your own way, which is to basically look at the size of your audience. And actually, this price margin analysis is on the Topspin knowledge base with a step-by-step guide for how to go through it. But you can even do this on your own. If you're looking at the size of your audience, how big is your email list? How much traffic do you get to the site a month? What's your social media reach? You can try and sort out how many units you think you'll sell. Let's say, just for sake of example, that of the total album sales, an artist might sell that maybe 10% of them might come from their direct-to-fan channel. It really varies depending on the campaign you run.
Right.
One of the campaigns had 40% of sales go through the direct-to-fan channel.
Right.
That was a really long lead one, which is another case for that. But it's important to go through that and figure out your margin on everything and what the artist can expect to get back in return, and how you should price those products to the fan.
I think it's incredibly important. I know I always encourage a team, like, please do a forecast, please do a forecast. Partly also just because this business is so new. Like, a lot of people we work with don't really have experience with the direct fan channel. They don't know what to expect.
Right.
So I find that doing the forecast not only gives people an idea of what might I expect, but then they make a direct correlation between the things that lead to sales,
right,
and the amount of money that they're going to make. So, for example, I had a conversation with an artist once where we did the forecast, and this is an artist who sold 70,000 records his first time out, 40,000 records on his second record. He was doing a B-sides collection direct to fan, and we projected like 300 or 600 records or something, and he went, "What? That's ridiculous!" And I said, "Look, well, let's talk about it. You don't have much of an email list. There's not much traffic to your website.
Right.
Where do you think the sales are coming from?"
Exactly.
Right. You can ask a question, and then he got his head around it, and he went, "Wow, okay. Well, I guess if I'm not going to be on the radio,
right,
I need to figure out where those sales are going to come from. So I guess I need to grow my email list.
Sure.
I guess I need to figure out how I get traffic to my website. Maybe I should buy some ads. Maybe I should hire some PR."
Right.
You start to then connect the dots to what really truly leads to sales. So that forecast, as Nicole said, is up on the Topspin knowledge base. So if you go to, I know, is it docs.topspin.net?
I think so.
I know that gets you there, but that might actually get you straight to the Dev Center. No, it's docs.topspin.net gets you the knowledge base. Dev.topspin.net gets you the Dev Center. So docs.topspin.net, and if you look through the materials for running a campaign, you'll find that spreadsheet, which is allows you to fill in the blanks on what your product is, what your margins are on your product mix, what your sources of revenue are. Then you get a high, medium, low, forecast or estimate of sales based on some standard conversion rates. So obviously, it could be way off. That the artist in question actually stood on stage in Santa Monica and said, "I sold more records in my first week than Ian told me I was going to sell in the lifetime of this project." And I think it was a diss, but I take it as a compliment because we talked about the right things. So
absolutely, I'll find this and put it into the chat. But one of the things too that I wanted to mention that's important to do, and it's easy, is once you launch your campaign and you have your product mix up there, if you have Google Analytics on your page, you can see, and it's important to gauge what your conversions are based on people hitting that page. If you think you're not selling, as Ian was talking about, the traffic being a huge driver, if you think you're not selling that much, but you have so many unique visitors and you're converting, let's say, 5% of them to buy something, that's a pretty solid number. That means your page is working. And you probably don't have enough traffic going there to drive up the numbers. And then you need to look at how do you get more people to come to your site or to see your offers. And a lot of times they come, with Topspin, a lot of times they come from fans sharing your email from media or streaming players outside the network.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to talk about our December stat that everybody knows by heart?
Sure.
89%, it might be 86%. 89% of the traffic for the December's campaign came from out of network, which is really huge. So in other words, people have posted these widgets up all over the place, and a lot of their email signups and then conversions to buy actually came from people that had come to the December site and weren't from the email list. And that means that the widgets work, they propagate, and they're out there in the wild doing their thing. So it's important to track that traffic overall.
So let's talk about the live stuff for a minute. So I know you. Tell me more about what you did in the past, what you did before Topspin and before you were Topspin consulting even.
Sure. Well, I actually got into music working with Aerosmith. I'm from New Hampshire. There aren't a ton of music companies in New Hampshire. It may not be the capital of the music industry. Probably never will be.
Live free or die.
Live free or die. That's the one thing that people know about New Hampshire is live free or die. It's pretty cool though.
It's pretty fun.
Good. Yeah. So I was a consultant for a mergers and acquisitions company at the time. Well, it was a big company called Towers Parent. And I knew music was I spent all my money on music, concerts, and CDs, and it was my passion. So for
were your parents
free,
music fans? Because you and your sister both ended up in the music business.
Right. Not particularly. I mean, my dad, I dug into his records, and I have his The Doors, Rolling Stones,
Right.
Beatles, Cat Stevens, He for the Tillerman was one of his favorites.
That's a good record.
It's a good record. But honestly, my parents actually aren't that into music. We just both sort of gravitated to it. My first concert, and I'm digressing, but I'll go back, was The Cure. That was my first concert without my parents.
Right.
My very first concert, which was Jeffrey Osborne with my mom.
Right. Awesome.
Sweet. So I, for free and for fun, to get my foot in the door, Dunkin' Donuts, nice.
We'll come back to questions
so
after.
I for free and for fun went to write for an Aerosmith newsletter. And I love Aerosmith, but it wasn't because I was a huge super fan. I just wanted to get into music and do something fulfilling on the side. And that led to getting hired to manage their online fan club, their VIP ticketing, their merch, all of the stuff that they did for Aero Force One, which is their very big fan club they've had for over 25 years. From there, I went to go work at Live Nation. I was a director of marketing at a company called Ultrastar. I worked a lot on the tour side and on the fan club side, primarily on online marketing for artist campaigns. And I mean, I love it. It's great. Amazing to be here at Topspin. So that's how I started and got into it. Hi, darling. I think you might have to shut the door.
Yeah, shut the door and come over here where people can see you.
It's Lulu. Back in. We can answer some questions.
Can I have something from the kitchen?
What would you like?
What is?
Imorta, hi. I'm going to answer one of your questions here, which is, what would you suggest the fastest way to engage towards new fans who haven't listened to your music? I really think that the Topspin email for media tool is great for that, and the streaming media player. And first start letting fans hear your music, and maybe not focusing too much on what fans might pay for it, but rather just letting them listen to the music and get to know you, and making that as easy and frictionless for them as possible, so that it's easy for them to tell their friends if they love it. And that's how you get new fans and engage initial fans.
Yeah, and that's what we've tried to build the email for media widget to do, is to allow you to stream so people can hear it.
I want something from the kitchen.
You can just have the fruit that's on the counter if you want. There's oranges, apples. You already had a banana, so go have an orange or an apple if you want.
Okay.
Can you get it? If not, you can ask someone to help you. So the email for media widget that allows you to stream so people can hear it, straight away. They don't have to give you anything to hear the music. And then if they like it, they can download it. There's also, makes it super simple for them to share that with their friends if they like it too.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of the rough flow, right? I don't know.
Sure.
You come in and you go, I don't know if I like this. And you play and you go, oh, that's kind of cool. All right, I'll take this. I'll put it on
Right.
my iPod, and you download it, and then you say, if you love it, you share it with somebody else.
And it's interesting, Ian says this often about his daughter Zoe, who rocks. She's at MIT. That she doesn't discover music through, just listening to the radio or watching MTV, which is how I used to discover music. She discovers it through her friends. And by and large, that's a lot of how I discover music now, too. Of course, through Topspin Beats. Doesn't hurt. Everybody comes in here and plays their favorite stuff. But it's really become a world of trusted recommendations because there's so much noise. So making it easy for people to share is important.
Before you have to go, and
You're welcome, Amorta.
I'll answer some of these questions too. We only have 5 more minutes with you, so I just want to add, because I want to get through the ticketing thing with you real quick. So you were saying that before we digressed that you worked with Aerosmith,
right?
And so then what? And then I'm curious. I know you do a lot of. First I just wanted to sort of establish your experience on the ticketing front, and then ask you how you do it.
Do you want me to talk about that while you take a bathroom break?
Yes.
All right.
I'll take this into the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Discuss tickets while Ian takes a bathroom break. I worked a lot with Aerosmith setting up VIP ticket programs for the fan club. For those of you that have worked on tour, that meant that I worked with the promoters to get seat assignments and what we call a map type, which is what box offices send out, showing your seat locations for reserved seat venues. It's a very old school process. A lot of them come faxed. They've had the same process for years, long before we had the internets to work with, and some of them haven't been updated. It's a pretty tedious process, but once you learn it and get to know the way the box offices and promoters work, it's not difficult. It's just good to have that experience. I went on the road and helped make sure that we had all the VIP backstage areas set up for over 5 different parties a night with, I think, upwards of 450 people in some cities. And then when I was at Ultrastar, which was the Live Nation company out of Brooklyn, New York, we also helped pull together VIP packages and touring. So I have a strong tour and ticketing experience, both at the desk, planning these things, and then on the road. And that's really helped, as Topspin, believe it or not, has not had, I think we launched ticketing maybe a few months into last year, so it hasn't been quite a year yet, and we've run massive ticketing campaigns. Eminem, the Pixies, Linkin Park. So having that experience was great.
Sorry about that.
I was just talking about managing VIP programs on the road.
Right.
I mentioned map types and box offices. I'm sure people were really excited about that. And talked about Topspin's ticketing feature, which I don't think has been live a year, but we've done so many massive campaigns. Not maybe 9 months, right?
No,
or 11?
we had it at South by Southwest last year. We didn't do
So-
the first.
so it's
We
been
didn't
a
have
year.
the ticket scanner until June.
Until June.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been about a year, and we've done just huge campaigns with very large scale. I think Eminem and Jay-Z in Detroit, in New York, that was thousands and thousands of tickets that sold out very quickly. So that experience has been really important to me here in terms of helping work on these tours, and the Topspin platform is way more powerful than anything else I've worked on. So that's been good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Let's answer a couple of these questions before Sid gets here. So let's see.
Amorta's other was, how would one go about increasing the traffic inside Facebook or a social network?
That's a good question. There's sort of when I always think about it, there's multiple kinds of marketing. There's
Right.
paid marketing. So
Right.
one way to increase traffic is to spend money
Mm-hmm.
and spend it. And money you could spend money wisely
Mhm.
with Google AdWords or Facebook ads.
Sure.
And then there are also other services like IndieClick and Trada and those sorts of services that you can use.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, we don't spend money. Sometimes
Right.
we do, but definitely very, very, very few of our artists spend much money on,
Right.
on online ads. So mostly you're trying to increase traffic through word of mouth. Nice. You're mostly trying to increase traffic through word of mouth. So the best way to bring traffic to your site is just to have something that people care about and to spread
Right.
the word and get blogs to write about you. and that sort of thing. And there are some great products for trying to figure out which blogs would be most interesting.
Right.
The Echo Nest guys have a product that is called. Somebody help me out with this. What's the Echo? Oh, Fanalytics. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Which all it does is it shows you what artists write about, or sorry, what blogs write about artists that are similar to you. You get your foot in the shot.
It's a can.
So those are ways. I mean, what we've tried to do is to make it so that when you take a streaming player, and if you can get people to share it on Facebook, if you can get people to, to stick it on their website, then then that will get spread around, and it will link people back to your website instead of linking people back to a YouTube page or something similar. I think Sig's here.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna jump out. I will say just one sort of just basic thing, which is that if you're an artist, I think it's great to speak in your own voice and just post on your social media sites as yourself. That's really important just for normal organic traffic and growing the size of your audience. Artists that post their personality and interact with their fans even before you do anything else. That's going to grow things naturally.
Yeah. All right, you can take this, and hold on.
I'm going to hold on to that for a minute, and I'll grab Parker.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, you guys. Good to
Thanks,
meet
Nicole.
you.
Thank
You're
you
welcome.
very much. Appreciate it. Let's see. I'm going to see if I missed any other questions here. Do we have any competitors? It's a good question. Everybody has competitors. If you don't have competitors, then you're not in an exciting market. If we didn't have competitors, that would be bad news. If you have any questions about how we stack up against competitors, please feel free to ask. Let's see. Oh, Parker is here, ladies and gentlemen, and Daphne. Ladies and gentlemen,
howdy.
Parker Brooks. I was just answering a couple of questions for starters. Dunkin' Donuts asks, speaking of VIPs, what exactly does your VIP process entail? Could you break down what you would do for an artist when it comes to VIPs? So it really depends on the artist. I guess if you had a particular artist in mind, give us a call, and we're happy to talk to you about VIPs, because it could be everything from nothing. You could set up a membership campaign with Topspin software, and you run the VIP program.
Yep.
And that's like the kind of thing that I did with Get Busy Committee, where I sold dinner with the band before the show.
Right.
So that's sort of like the lightest weight. And then there are things like I suppose the thing in between is where that you can sell the VIP with Topspin, and then someone else can run the VIP program. For example, with Lincoln Park, the VIPs were sold with Topspin, and a company called Ground Control out of Sacramento, Eddie's company, Eddie Meehan's great company. They actually fulfilled the VIPs, if you will. They were on the road every night, making sure the VIPs got in and were taken care of, et cetera, et cetera. You need your computer back?
No, I can live without that for a second. I'm good.
Okay.
Let me take my BlackBerry though.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, Nicole.
You're welcome.
We do have a professional services team. So if you have a need on the VIP front, give us a ring, and we'll try to figure it out. So Mike Bully says, trying to integrate Topspin mailing list into Mobile Roadie. On Mobile Roadie, there's a forum where I can enter campaign URL, target URL, and artist ID. Campaign URL I can't seem to find anywhere.
Yeah, we're going to have to get back to you on that one. Because I think what should potentially happen is that you should be able to put in the URL, which is going to be our API URL, and you'll be able to put your email in, and it'll post to Topspin.
Yeah, so I think what it is, so this is the email for media integration inside of Mobile Roadie.
Inside of Mobile Roadie, right.
So the campaign URL, I'm just wondering if it's changed.
I have a feeling it might have been.
Yeah, so I haven't looked at this since we changed over for South by Southwest. But the bottom line is, we can show you how to construct that campaign URL. So, Mike, if you'll do me a favor and post in the forums, post in community.topspin.net, and we'll get back to you straight away on that, because we want to make sure that there isn't any difference between the way it used to work and the way it works now. But so Parker's going to write it down. So
write it down.
It's a good question. Thank you very much for that. But Mike, if you don't mind posting in the forums, that way others can benefit from whatever the answer turns out to be. I'd really appreciate it. Cool. Thanks very much. All right. So Todd, what's up, Todd? Todd's asking, email list building is key. What conversion rate for most free songs for email address throughout your networks? So what you're asking, Todd, if you give away songs, how many of those people buy? Is that the question? Maybe hit us back in the chat room. I want to see if I'm understanding the question correct. I'm not sure I know the answer to that question off the top of my head.
Well, it varies pretty dramatically. And are you asking the conversion rate for when people land on your website and actually give you an email in exchange for a song? Is that what you're looking for?
It's a conversion rate for most free songs. No free song for email address. Oh yeah, so conversion rate from.
Oh, so okay.
People,
are you looking at the difference between the two, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if there's we found that if there's a sign up that there is nothing in exchange for it, your conversion rate is like anywhere from like 0 to maybe 1% if you're like lucky. So like meaning like if you just have like a form on your website that just says sign up for my email list, and then conversely when you move into like E4Ms, there's a couple things that are really make the conversion swing. And one is like, are you actually running a roadblock with the E4M, or is it just placed somewhere on your site randomly? So we found that like if you run an actual roadblock, which is like, I can't give you an example right now, but
the moment what it is the moment you hit the page,
yeah, that's all it is.
The first thing it does is ask you for the email address instead of it being kind of somewhere else buried in 100 other things on the site.
So what we found is like upwards of like 30% like conversion and traffic would be huge, and you're probably going to see more between like 5 and 10%, if that answers your question. And then it's sort of like if it's like on the sidebar and or just someplace that's not very like highlighted, it's not like an actual like roadblock, you're probably going to get on the lower end of the conversion rates.
So Todd, if that didn't answer your question, let us know. So there's a question earlier, Parker,
okay,
that was for you. I apologize, we haven't really even introduced you. We'll get through these questions and then I have some questions for you.
Okay, cool.
But so I am an adult now.
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm getting there. He was just putting his WordPress link in here and saying, excuse the look of the store. Topspin WordPress plugin is not pulling the images in. Do you have any idea why that would be?
Okay, let's look at it. So I think this was asked in the forum. I saw this morning, and I don't have the answer for that. There's a couple things that we're exploring right now. I think there could be a potential problem with, there's a bug that I think might be in our API where if you have a download link, it's causing like an error with our API. So what we need to do, and it's going to get a little too like in the weeds for me to describe right now, but like there's a process that we'll just have to go through with you to see if, yeah, I see what's happening. Is it like I'll need to actually, if you could ping me when we get done, I can like look at to see if like the API with your account is actually like responding correctly. Because I have a feeling if we ping your offers API, what we're going to get is we're going to get an error, and then in turn we can start to figure out like what the problem is.
Okay, so you think it's probably not a problem with the WordPress plugin, but your analysis thus far is that it's a problem with the API.
I think so. I think it could be. And because like what's happening in here is like some of the stuff's being cached, and that's the reason it's working, some of it.
I see. Okay. So, all right, well, he's asking what email to send to you. You want to email you or just do this in the forums?
Either way. Let's just do it in the forums. That way it's like I think that question's been in the forums, so I'll just answer it there.
Okay. All right, cool, man. We'll follow up on that in the forums. So thanks for your help. I mean, if there's a bug with the API, that's definitely something we want to get fixed. So Parker will get back to you in the forums. No worries, man. Thanks for showing up and listening to us. So I wanted to introduce people to Mr. Parker Brooks.
All right.
If you watch the video in the front of Topspin, you'll see Parker in less blanks. I actually talked about you. I think last week, because I was telling the story of that. I actually met you. The first time I heard of you was on record.
Really?
Yeah, because it was Peter Bramble actually playing the record here in the office, and me, and I'm a picky bastard. It's pretty much everything. I was like, what is this? This is actually good.
And you liked it?
I liked it. And
cool.
Then he was like, yeah, not only is it good, but he's using Topspin. And so we got introduced that way. Oh, wow. Thank you. This is the kind of gifts you get as a parent. Look at that.
Kind of halfway.
I'm going to make a doll out of that. So anyway, you had started working not for Topspin, but
right.
working with artists outside of Topspin. What were some of the first things you worked on? Less Blanks, obviously.
Yeah, Less Blanks. I think actually the first project I worked on was Paul McCartney.
Wow.
Because the way what had happened was that like I knew a couple of the people that worked for the company, and then like they were like super secretive about what they did, and I had been actually over to Shamal's house or his warehouse to a couple parties when it was like kind of like in real black ops. And so I just as I hung out with Peter and Shamal, I was like, hey, what can I do? And then they eventually like turned me on and like was like, here use the platform for your art, for Less Blanks. And then that just like moved into like Shamal called me one day and was like, hey, can you help me work on this Paul McCartney thing?
Right.
And then I think that
was the Fireman record, right? Is that true?
Actually no, it was like I want to say it was the Good Evening New York City.
Oh yeah. Because the Fireman one was done by Paul's people in London, right? Cool. And then we worked together on the Get Busy committee stuff.
Yep.
And you were working at the beginning, before you worked at Topspin, you were actually building sort of your own little WordPress, your own little WordPress integration. Like what was the impetus? Like what did you see as the gap between kind of what we did and what you thought web developers needed to work with Topspin?
Well, so I was sort of in the process, of like building a platform that was going to make it really simple for someone to basically log in and then create like a very basic like self-serve platform where they could sell using the Topspin tools, which is essentially like some people have like picked up the torch, which is us. We've actually built like a pretty simple way to actually build a store really quickly,
right? And
then like stage blocking like what they've done, and then with the WordPress plugin, and then what Verb did was kind of basically the same idea.
Yeah,
it was like there's a really simple way for you to actually connect, pull your Topspin offers in, and build a website without having like a huge amount of experience.
Yeah, and it's true, man. From the first time, like when you and I were working on the Get Busy committee stuff, we would have killed to have had the WordPress
absolutely
that we have today, or the Verb integration, or a stage block platform helping us out. It's true. So how long have you been here now?
Jeez, almost a year. I want to say it was actually June. So maybe
that sounds about right.
9 months now.
Right. And what are some of the things that you can talk about, the public things that you've been involved with, since you've been here?
Well, I think so. There's a couple of projects that there's from big to like things that are really true to my heart. So like the one of the projects and the artists that I work with that I really love is Yesinger, and so I've been able to. That was actually a project that I brought on that was like referred to me before I started working here, and I worked with Jason and them for like probably like 6 months before I started here, and so we've been working with them just kind of through like from a couple actual album cycles, actually one album cycle, but then just like the dips between the cycles.
Right.
And then the other artists for the last like 6 months that I've actually spent most of my time that like I think last week you guys talked about the VIP stuff and how it worked was with Linkin Park.
Yep. So
I worked really closely with them on like how do we actually form a membership program on Topspin, and how do we convert from their previous membership product to like Topspin, and how does that all integrate into ticket sales?
Right. I was just noticing that I'm an adult now, so he'll check in the forums later if your answer is going to see the thermals right now.
Okay.
Enjoy, man. I love the thermals. I wish I liked the new thermals record more, but I love that band. I need to listen to the record more. So, peace, man. Thanks.
See you later.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. One of the things that I think is so great about the work that you do for us is, we have a pretty enforced separation between the engineering team and then the professional services that we do. And Parker, just to be clear, is on the professional services team, but he actually understands the way the platform works really deeply, understands web development himself, has access to a number of web developers that he works with. He's a good designer. You've got that sort of all around web developer mindset. But you're building on top of the Topspin platform internally. So in a way, Parker's kind of our number one customer and number one in sort of most hardcore, hardcore, but also just kind of burst. Right. Whenever anything comes out, a lot of times you're using stuff that's totally beta, and a lot of times you're prototyping stuff yourself. Because what will happen is an artist will say, "We want this." The engineering team will say, We're
later.
Busy.
Yeah, right.
We're busy, thanks. And Parker will figure out how to get it done, and then if it's rad, then the team will go, oh well, shit, that's something we should integrate into the platform. So, what are some of the ways that you've either done that, or how are you looking at campaigns, or how does that evolve for you?
Well, so usually a lot of the ideas come around like building on the platform. What Ian's talking about is that, so we have a team of there's me, Nicole, and Jen, and then a lot of the folks that work with us. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times the campaigns encompass a lot of the same things. So it's for instance, in the instance of an E for M, it's there's every campaign needs to have a place to where when you confirm an E for M, there could be an upsell.
Right. And then just to make sure everyone understands, and E for M is the email from media widget. And then what you mean is when you confirm it is, so I'm a fan, I came, I put in my email address, now I got the email, now I click, now I'm doing the download. And
what do you want me to do?
What do you want me to do? Now do you want me to do something else?
Yeah.
Do you want me to share it? Do you want me to buy something?
Which is what we wanted you to do.
Right.
So there's the flow of there's things that we found with best practices, or we've just come up with. For instance, the flow here is I want you to give me your email, mm-hmm. and then when you confirmed into the email list, then there's a download button. What I really want you to do now is I want you to share.
Right.
So we've built an external tool that it actually allows us to do this really simply, to where we don't actually have to spend the man or woman hours plus the time every single time we build a campaign. We've templatized this in such a way that makes it really simple for us internally to do this over and over, and for it to be super cost effective.
Right.
So and another example is we did, and this is kind of before the terms of service of Facebook and Facebook change, is we templatized the concept of being able to share on Facebook for a free download.
Right.
So, and again, that was just around this idea of people want to be able to for you to like and or to share on Facebook to get a free download, and instead of the cost being this, they want the cost to be this.
Right.
And we were seeing that come up over and over, so we built internally a tool that was kind of a template of that, basically, so that we could actually bang these out really quickly, and it'd be super cost effective for the clients.
Right. Yeah, it makes perfect sense, and I love it just in the evolution of it. We've been at this for 3+ years.
Right.
Really, coming up on 4 years now, and it seems it's getting kind of evolved. There's a platform, there's tools on top of the platform, the tools eventually find their way into the platform, and then you build more advanced tools on top of that, and it feels like we've kind of built enough of a stack that we've actually there's actually some girth to build on at this point, so that's cool. Let's see. He's dropped it in the forums. Thanks, Mike. If anybody has any questions for Parker, let us know. Otherwise, I'm going to let Parker go in 5 or 10 more minutes.
Okay.
what do you see, like, looking out into the future? Like, what are some of the things that we aren't doing today that you wish we did, or you're pushing the team to do? That sort of stuff. Technically, things that you think. Is there anything in particular that you think artists need that is sort of the next frontier?
Well, there's two prongs to that. So like kind of like with what I'm building, or what I built with a couple of these tools, like where I kind of envision Topspin is that there's like a lot of plugins that are like really super specialized that make it really simple for artists to do things. So it's like, hey, I want to do, for instance, like I want to be able to build. I'll just use an example of what we're doing now. Like I want to be able to have like a simple way to build an email confirm page and not have to really think about it.
Right.
So I think there's an opportunity in and this is what I'm hoping that we're doing with, like, when we build these kind of subsets, is that people see that, like, there's actually there's really like a pretty big open area to build like tools on top of Topspin.
Right.
That are like that maybe just do one thing, but they do it really, really simply and do it really well. So it should, and they kind of like the analogy, and I know we might beat this to a dead horse. It's just like Pro Tools comes with like a really good plugin, right. But where I'd like to see Topspin is like the idea that like eventually there's going to be a waves of plugins for Topspin. I don't know what that is. It might be Stage Block. It might be Verb. Who knows? Yeah. But that's where I see like it headed.
And one of the things that's been really hard, like you're talking about building that great confirm page, the clients that you work with want things to be beautiful and customized to exactly what they're doing. And I think that we've always struggled with finding the balance between having the power so you can do anything you want to. Like, for example, like the store builder is a great example. Like, our confirm page always sucked because we didn't think anybody would ever use it, right? It was sort of oversight on our part because we thought what's more powerful is to give people the ability to change it to be whatever they want to. Right? But I think that we've always struggled with striking the balance between giving you the power to make it whatever you want, and then acknowledging that a lot of people don't have the time or the money or the skills to make it whatever they want. So I guess that's the what do you think? Is there a way even to strike that balance, or are we just always going to struggle with that?
Well, I think what's naturally going to happen is that there's going to be me and a bunch of other people that take our tools and then build flows or build processes that we all go like, oh wow, that's a better way to do it. Right. This is how we've got to actually do this now. Yeah. Like in the flow of the E4M confirm, it's like we built it so that there's really only two things you can do, and that's download and share. And so it's like eventually I think there's going to be a lot of those types of things where we're we don't know everything. I mean, we don't begin to think that we do. Right. Then we're going to look out and go, oh wow, that's a much simpler, more elegant way to do this that makes a lot more sense. And I think that's sort of the future. I think for us is that we're going to start seeing those things, and then we're going to implement them into our platform.
Then we'll bring those back into the platform.
Absolutely.
So it'll probably always go through this cycle, right? We'll start basic. Right. We'll try to give people the power to do it. Hopefully, people will use that power and do something. And then we'll go when we see shit that we know works. We'll go, wow, okay, let's do this. Let's bring that back in. That's a pretty natural, software development thing. All right, well, we got another question. Let's answer that, and then I'll let you get back to work. Okay, cool. So with FBML being removed from Facebook, can you talk about how to get the email from Media Widget to work in Facebook?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's pretty simple, and I wrote, if you just search for my name. If you just search for my name in the forums, there's an application that this gentleman built, and I actually don't know his name offhand, but it's basically an application that it's really cool. It only does two things, and it does them really easily and really simply. You install the application to your website, and you don't have to do any authentication with the API or have a development account. And then it puts a little tab. It basically presents you a form, and it says, what do you want before people like? And you put in your HTML, and then it's like, what do you want after people like? And you put in your HTML. And then you hit save, and then you can view basically what it looks like to users. And basically what the application does is it just allows you to put HTML inside of a tab. And so you can say, like, well, I don't either. So you can really easily create a like campaign, like this image, to be shown at E4M, so you can download a free track. Or conversely, you can just have it where you just have a E4M up there.
Right.
So you can run it, either run a like campaign or not. And so if you look in the forums, there's like a link to that application and some pretty basic instructions on how to install it on your page.
Right. And the forums are community.topspin.net. Perfect. So, Music Gig Services says, please have Parker be a regular guest on this. Thanks, Chandler. We will. So you've been requested.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
Hang out with us.
Yeah, I can do like a little 30-second tech demo.
You don't have to do it every week. But,
That's whatever.
Yeah. I'm not going to be here next week, so it might be all you.
It might be me.
Yeah.
I might do it by the pool.
Right.
I'll be shirtless one week or something.
Yeah, perfect. All right, does anybody else have any questions for Parker before we let him go? If you have any questions for Parker or me, drop them into the chat room. Otherwise, I think we're going to wrap up for this week, and I'm going to get ready to go to Vegas for the American Country Music Awards.
Oh, killer.
If anybody's in Vegas this weekend, come on out. All right, thank you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I won't be here next week, but I'm going to try to make sure somebody can be. Hopefully, Bob can take up the reins, and we'll be back here next week at 11 a.m. for you.
Killer.
All right, have a good weekend, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Goodbye.